Medical School Tips: Advantages of Learning Using Problem-Based Learning. Hello, my name is Tats. I'm making this video in view of more medical schools starting to use a new learning strategy, PBL, to help us learn better, and because I hope most students will find PBL as enjoyable and useful as I did. Let me introduce myself. I graduated from a university where innovative teaching and learning were highly valued. So as a student, we were exposed to lots of new concepts in medical education, like PBL and lots of other things, for example, OSCE, case-based learning, work-based assessments, portfolio assessments, and so on. But my favorite part of the curriculum was always PBL. Through this experience, I started to really believe that PBL helped me develop as a person in ways I never expected. In short, I'm a strong believer in problem-based learning. From this presentation, I hope to explain why I feel this way. Like all of you, I was feeling lost in my initial years of medical school, having doubts about myself as well as the curriculum. I never knew how I should approach PBL as a learning tool. I can tell you that I felt all the common negative thoughts about PBL we students share. For example, isn't PBL time-wasting and ineffective? Wouldn't it be better to just go home, cram knowledge on my own, just like I did during high school? It is inconsistent. I was afraid my knowledge had gaps compared to my peers in other groups. It distributes work unevenly. Some are unwilling to speak up. Some PBL members try their best to minimize their workload. During PBL, we don't get spoon-fed by our facilitators. So I was feeling lost and confused. I even thought this was a way for the faculty to reduce lecture time and be lazy. However, one day, perhaps around the end of first year, I started to realize something as I slowly felt comfortable enough to experiment with the PBL group mates that I slowly learned to trust and be friends with. And realize one concept which changed everything. PBL is an acquired skill, just like everything else in life. All the bad impressions about PBL was overcome with a positive mindset and attitude, and of course, with deliberate practice. And here are the points that I would like to make in the coming slides. PBL is actually time and effort effective. Inconsistency is an essential element of PBL. Learn teamwork through respect. Evolve from student to learner. Let me explain one by one. PBL is time and effort effective in the long run. Well, just like I said, I thought PBL was time wasting, but now thinking back, PBL learning seems to be one of the most effective ways to learn. Now, why do I say this? Because even now I remember my very first PBL trigger clearly. The patient was a 30-year-old pirate. Complaint was weakness and bleeding gums. Diagnosis was scurvy, and the particular topic was for us to explore into the concept of nutritional deficiencies leading to illnesses. And we said this pirate probably needs a lemon. I also remember that when we presented our findings about nutrition and illnesses, because we were talking about a bunch of other vitamins, one student reported, I found that folic acid may help prevent Alzheimer's. Our facilitator was an old community medicine professor who said, "Oh, that's nice. I should take them. But I'm afraid my friends will think I'm pregnant." Because, of course, folic acid was the most well-known to be given to early-stage pregnancy. Well, the fact that I remember so much has a valid reason. We tend to remember episodic memory, or memories of stories or episodes, more than semantic memory of facts. This was probably why I remember lots from PBL. It helps us integrate knowledge into context and episodes, especially when discussion lead to unexpected or fun things. Moving on, inconsistency is a key element of PBL. There is no doubt that there is inconsistency in PBL learning. There is no promise that every small group goes home with the same range and depth of learning issues. Likewise, there is no promise that everyone in the group will have the same amount of reading to do. Let's look at those two imaginary PBL groups. What learning issues do they have? Learning issues, pathogenesis, types of vitamins, consultation advice seems pretty standard. So how about the other group? This group seems to be slightly obsessed with pirates. The learning issue even complains parrot nutrition. Well, I made this up, of course, but sometimes our actual PBL had fun learning issues like this. Well, as you can see, there's a lot of freedom in the exploration of PBL learning issues. It doesn't have to follow the textbook. And I feel PBL should be one of the ways in which students can express themselves. Be creative. And that is the wonderful thing about PBL. To realize that life is all about inconsistencies and ways to deal with them. I think we could get even more out of PBL if you have friends from other PBL groups from whom you can talk about each session about what they have discussed, who told the funniest jokes, what was the most interesting thing that you have learned, and so on. From there, you start to realize you're learning something other people haven't, and someone else is learning something you haven't. Now, the important thing about this, in my opinion, is not to try and overcome this inconsistency by trying to study everything, but to realize that you can't do that, and respect the fact that people know different parts of the vast knowledge, vast body of information. From that mutual respect, we can slowly tap into the possibilities of teamwork. Teamwork is an essential element of our daily life. Up until university, we never really learned how to learn in teams, and this is why people find it difficult. Well, of course, we've never done it before. And this is also why things like uneven workload distribution, certain people slacking off, debates leading to conflicts, these sort of things happen. However, these are real-life problems that we need to solve in everyday life. In other words, PBL teaches us how to learn in real teams and communities. Now, I believe in the power of teamwork. I believe that whatever I can't do alone can be done with these, if only I had help from my friends. And I think that's how I got through medical school. I learned how to be an effective team member, leader, and a negotiator by using PBL as a sort of training grounds for it. Moving on to my final point here is that PBL helps us transition from being a student to learner. In universities, we often feel overwhelmed because of the lack of teaching in proportion to the enormous amount of things we need to learn. I think this is the moment where we should get out of our comfort zone and start helping ourselves. Learn to use study groups, search engines, know where to obtain the right information. Realize the true wisdom doesn't only lie in books, but there is always more to be found in human interaction and even at the touch of our smartphones. And PBL lets us use different resources. And that's it for now. Thank you so much for your attention. I really hope more people find PBL as enjoyable as I did. And I would love to hear your feedback, not limited to medical students, of course. And please subscribe if you have liked what you see. Thanks again.